Good afternoon, my loves. Welcome to Maverick Baking and welcome to another chocolate review video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Kelly and here on Maverick Baking we conduct these little chocolate review videos. We share lovely, easy recipes. We even have a little podcast these days, and every now and again we like to publish some kind of foodie vlogs and foodie challenges too. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, do feel free to subscribe. One thing I must warn about today is I'm in a slightly different filming location for today's chocolate review, as there is a little bit of building work going on in our apartment building. So if you hear any drilling, crashing, screaming or swearing in Italian, do not be alarmed. It's not my husband trying to escape from the cupboard. I keep him locked in. Today we are talking about a very European brand that I am not very familiar with, so I'm quite excited to see if they're worth all of the hype that they have here in this country. We are talking about Loacker. This is a brand popular in the north of Italy. I believe it is also available throughout the country, but it seems to have a particularly strong foothold in the kind of close to mountainous regions of the country, like where we are in the northeast. But I believe this is also a brand you can find in other parts of Europe, and you'll be able to find these sorts of things online very easily these days. Loacker is a brand that isn't actually most known for its chocolate, however. It's known for these kind of chocolate coated or chocolate and cream filled wafers particularly. So I picked up these 3 bars in our local Lidl store. They were reduced to 80 cents. Now, is that a good sign? Is that just a lovely coincidence, a nice kind of unexpected good deal, or is that a sign that these are not particularly good? We're about to find out. So the 3 flavors I have picked up today of these filled Loacker chocolate bars are their white chocolate filled with white creme, their milk chocolate filled with a milk creme, and their milk chocolate filled with a Napolitaner creme, or just chocolate and hazelnut for the uninitiated. I think we are going to start with the kind of classic, the Napolitaner. From this, we can expect milk chocolate with a hazelnut cream filling and wafer. So we do have a little bit of a throwback to the kind of classic Loacker wafer in there, but shall we see if this is worth your money and worth picking up, if your local Lidl has them reduced to a delicious 80 cents like they are here. While these appear to be kind of, I don't want to say modelled after Ritter Sport, it's looking a bit Ritter Sport. You know, you've got that kind of iconic square shape, not trying to incite any lawsuits, though I would be interested in reading the outcome of one. But on the inside, it is distinctively different. Where the Ritter Sport is a kind of breakdown of, I believe, 16 separate chocolate chunks, here we have just 6 big chocolate chunks. Relax, please. I'm guessing this is because it will be much easier to fill these with the kind of chocolate, wafer and creamy situation that we have going on. So, not too bad a snack. I must say it is not particularly warm in our apartment at the moment, but the little store that we bought these in, the heating was ramped up so much I actually began to sweat. So I will not be entirely surprised if the texture of these is a little bit off. But let's taste our first Loacker chocolate filled bar and see how it is. The chocolate is smooth. There is a little bit of wafer kind of crunchiness, crispiness, and there is a creamy filling in there somewhere. Does it bring forward an obvious hazelnut flavor? Not really. Honestly, this tastes like a Kit Kat Chunky with the tiniest amount of hazelnut filling in there, but like worse. The chocolate is very Nestle, it's very Easter egg, it's very advent calendar. There's nothing particularly great about it. It's a very generic, very budget milk chocolate. The crispiness of the wafer is definitely still there. It isn't too soggy or too chewy, but I must say, for a country that is absolutely famed globally for the quality and flavor of its kind of hazelnuts and hazelnut chocolate things, it's lacking. You can tell that there is hazelnut in there, but it's very, very, very subtle. But in terms of flavor, it's definitely not as good as it could be, even for a very, very budget price. I think I'll give the Loacker Napolitaner chocolate wafer cream bar a 2 out of 5. Shall we move on to the milk creme bar? So from this bar, we can expect milk chocolate with a milk cream filling and crispy wafer. So perhaps leaning a bit more towards a kind of Kinder bar vibe, something that's a little bit more almost vanilla-y, almost white chocolatey. So we have exactly the same design on the inside. The tiniest, vaguest snap. Thank you, Mr. Drilling. This has more of a chocolatey kind of smell to it, but let's see how it tastes. You can see quite a thick and crispy looking wafer and a very, very, very thin, like as thin as the chocolate layer of that kind of milk cream filling. To be brutally honest, capital B, bland. The milk chocolate, again, violently generic. really mid, if you will. Easter egg chocolate, advent calendar chocolate, vague chocolate coin or chocolate football chocolate. There is nothing distinctive or particularly chocolatey about it. It almost tastes like just cocoa powder. That really kind of, you know it's chocolate, but it's somewhat flat taste. I will grant that these aren't as sweet as I expected. A lot of these kind of generic chocolate wafer bars can be really, really sweet. This is much less so than, for example, a Kit Kat bar, I would say. The milk cream filling, I think, you know, if you're going to be contending with other big name brands such as Kinder that do that kind of milky, creamy, vanilla-y flavored cream filling well, this, again, very forgettable. Not unpleasant by any means, just entirely unmemorable. The texture is there. You have chocolate, you have creaminess, you have crunch, as promised. But in terms of flavor, just so uninspired that I can't give this any more than a 2 out of 5. Shall we move on to the one that I have perhaps the most hope for? We have the Loacker White Creme. The Loacker Vanilla wafers are lovely. They're great, whether you're having them with a coffee, little cup of tea, just as a little sweet pick-me-up after a meal. They're nice. I think they're the best of the kind of Loacker chocolate flavors personally, but shall we see if the same can be said for its chocolate bar equivalent. So opening this, we have an obvious difference in that this is white, but otherwise it is looking pretty much the same with even less snap to it. Not unexpected, as white chocolate is barely even chocolate, both legally and literally speaking. This does smell very milky bar, very vanilla. Let's see if it's worth your money. This is said to be white chocolate with milk cream filling and crispy wafer. So exactly the same as the last one we had, but with white chocolate on the exterior. Again, incredibly indistinct layering on the inside. The crispiness is there. The creaminess is there. This is the best one so far, without a doubt. It's not something that I would sprint to Lidl to purchase again. This is the most distinct of all three. The first was hazelnutty, but the second was milk chocolatey, but this is like affordable white chocolate done well that happens to have wafer in it in a nice way. It's creamy, it's sweet without being kind of tooth-tingly, sickly sweet. And it has a really distinctive and very welcome actual vanilla flavor in there. I think the creaminess seems to come out in this one better, likely because it's white chocolate that just by nature is more creamy anyway. But it allows you that kind of better contrast between thick, satisfying, smooth, creamy and the crunchiness of that wafer. Certainly better than the previous 2 bars did. This feels like it's something that could stand up on its own, and it's something that feels like the kind of creamy vanilla white chocolatiness of the vanilla Loacker by the same brand. Therefore, I'd be happier to give this one a 4 out of 5. Ultimately, very interesting day. A very, very interesting little chocolate tasting today. Would I recommend that you spend your hard-earned 80 cents on any of these bars? Honestly, no. Honestly, no. There is something tastier you could get for 80 cents. Considering the Lidl bakery exists in the same building that these exist, put these down. Put them down and walk away. If you have ever tasted any of the Loacker wafers or any of the Loacker chocolate bars, do let me know your thoughts in the comments below, whether you are Italian and these hold a bit of a place in your heart like they do for Francesco, or whether these are something that you would quite happily skip next time. I'd love to know your thoughts. But I'm afraid that is all I have time for today, guys. Thank you so much, as always, for watching, and I will see you for the next one.